teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel. We have made it to the weekend and man, I have been tired the last few days. It is close to the end of this particular term. We've got a 2-week holiday coming up and all the teachers are starting to feel it. So today's episode is brought to you by my irresponsible drinking of coffee because it's Thursday and I do what I want. And in this case, it's currently somewhere between 8 and 9 p.m. and it's clearly time for a coffee. I suppose it can keep me awake during the editing, Kay. So Chantal has put out a few pieces of content this week. The live that came after this, I believe, the chatty live, man, from what I saw of it was very boring. I can't think of any particular topics of conversation, but it doesn't seem worth covering, so I'm not. The other two pieces of, is content the right word? Insanity she put out were some covers of songs, which I did not enjoy. And that's as much as I need to say about them, I think. I was a little bit suspicious of her this week, particularly as in the live later, she said, I'm in no condition to travel now. She was talking about her sciatica and the pain she was in and things. Just makes me think more that she did travel while she was offline. Because she had maybe 3 days in between her lives, and it felt like she was maybe just filling in the time so she could go and maybe drive over a border. It takes 2 to 3 days to get a tourist visa if you do the e-visa, or at least it did from Canada, it seemed to. I'm not saying she definitely did. If she didn't, she still needs to make a trip, but the fact that she went offline and only had pre-recorded out for a few days, the fact that it's kind of near the end of the month and she's got to do it soon anyhow, and usually she would go live a lot more nearer the end of the month because all of her money gets ratified into the next check that way. We're not super close, it's only the 21st right now. It could just be as simple as she knew her check was coming in so she cared less, but it struck me as odd and faintly suspicious. So maybe she's travelled, we'll see. But what we'll be covering today is her vlog because it's the most accessible, I feel, in terms of reaction and the format of reactions. However, we can probably skip through most of the beginning when she's walking through the rain because that's literally all she does. We'll make 1 or 2 comments and then we'll move on. And let's just start by stating, man, the filters are working overtime today. She hasn't got a mark on her. Anything that's slightly shiny is coming up very brightly, and everywhere else is completely smooth, completely evenly coloured, not a blemish on her face, which is a bold-faced lie. Ironically, considering her face is heavily covered by filters. Don't get me wrong, I've got a light helping me out, but let's simmer down. That's as far as it goes, yeah? You've seen me without it. This feels like she's trying real hard.
Hey guys, so we're just gonna go out for a little bit. It's raining though.
Oh, also she seems to have a slightly pink mark above her lip there, which is maybe accounting for the fact that she's got so many heavy filters on. I know she usually does, but if it's showing even through the filter, it must be pretty bad in real life.
So yeah, just gonna go for a ride, maybe a walk if the rain eases up. Yalla. This is our lobby.
You can really hear the rain. It does come down.
Part of it, anyway. Back through there's a pool and a little gym.
The little gym that she will never use again.
I'm waiting for Salah to go get the umbrella.
Of course. Because I'm going for a walk in the rain. God forbid a bit of rain touch me. Now, it's heavily raining, obviously, but man, do something for yourself. I watched a little bit of Pulpy's stream earlier. I didn't really get a chance to see the whole thing yet because I have to go back and watch the beginning. But he was mentioning how utterly dependent she is. And even in Canada, she used to drive herself around. She used to, if nothing else, go get food when she wanted it. And now it's very much, look how precious I am. I can't possibly step out of doors without my husband present and he needs to get me everything. And it all kind of folds into what she thinks Muslim women are like. She thinks there's no independence there. So, oh Salah, I need an umbrella. My love, please go get me one. she's gonna slip and slide right over that. One thing about the fact that we don't get very much rain in this region is nothing is built for it, yeah? Like any kind of tile, you just slide straight across. So she probably shouldn't be doing this with her sciatica. I also don't know why she chose the rain of all things. I guess because it's more unusual and she thought she'd be more comfortable. But usually when it rains, we are told stay inside, do not do anything except for absolutely essential driving. And for a couple of reasons. One, the flash floods are real and can be very dangerous, and she's going to show a little bit on her driving. I don't know if I'm going to cut this part, which is why I'm saying it now. She shows a bit on her driving the really big puddles, yet we're told not to drive through those. Now, in Oman, the wadis, the sinkholes, are a real danger because they flood very quickly. I imagine flash flooding is an issue in Kuwait as well, simply because of the environment and of the climate and how the ground works in terms of absorbing or not absorbing water. But for the sake of I want to make a vlog, she hasn't moved from that apartment in a long time. She doesn't need to endanger herself and others doing it now. Because the other reason as well is that a lot of people, like driving in the region is not the best. Saudi Arabia, Oman, and I would imagine Kuwait, the quality of driving can be interesting and creative. And no one really knows how to drive in the rain. And like I say, nothing's really built for it. So if anything, it just gets more dangerous. They don't seem to be doing anything urgent in any way. It's just a case of she's had 2 days of songs as content, and so she was looking for something else. But I would say if ever there was a time for her to stay home, now would be it.
It doesn't rain often in Kuwait. But when it does, it's usually in the winter. Otherwise, in the summer, there's sandstorms.
Yeah, we had a ton of rainstorms come through Oman. I think I told you I got the emergency signal on my phone and then nothing ended up hitting and I had to go to school. I'm so annoyed. We were promised that rain day. But look, like, what's she doing right now? Also, I see Salah is back on camera because we get a body shot, but she looks so uncomfortable in that. And again, just the mud of the beach / car park. This must be the one she sees just outside of her window. You know, when she's looking over to the beach and you've got like the workmen's coaches and things parked there. But you can bet she doesn't have proper footwear. Like, she's going to be sinking into that. Oh, it's going to be a mess. Covered in mud. I'm surprised the wind's not up and her umbrella's holding on. Because a lot of those umbrellas won't be waterproof ones. They'll be parasols for sun.
The roads are flooded.
See, look at this. Right, so why are you out, madam? She's already admitted she doesn't go to mosque. There's no reason why she needs to be out right now. Like, that flood could escalate really quickly, endangering herself and others, and the roads will be really dangerous right now.
Flooding is pretty common whenever there's heavy rainfall here in Kuwait.
And yet we're here. All right, a lot of this is just driving footage. I'm going to click through. I don't think she says much after this. If she doesn't, I'll cut it.
Bismillah. First. It's kind of raining pretty hard. It's not really the best weather to go for a nice walk. Wish I had a boat.
Okay, that's literally as much as she says. Again, she's come here, the pier, the boat, that kind of thing. What an inane thing. I wish I had a boat. Really? Why has she chosen today to walk? She's herself admitting it's a terrible time to do it, and she's just posted a picture of the mall. Go into the mall and walk around there if you have to be out. But was it really so urgent, given all the other clear days you had, for you to be out right now? I think not.
Well, I take off my makeup.
That'd be the makeup you weren't going to wear during Ramadan. That makeup.
Do you want to say hi for the people? Hi.
That face says absolutely not.
Alright, so to remove my makeup, I'm using these Annabelle oil-free eye remover pads, which are great. Don't mind my squeaky chair.
Could you get your cat down, please? If you're not going to spay her or take care of her, don't remind us of her presence.
I'm fat, so in case you haven't noticed.
Sorry, I was focusing back in and got thrown back by Foodie's defensive comments. Like, calm down, we haven't insulted you yet.
Alright, now I want to talk to you guys about Islam. I'm a revert. I took my Shahada last September. Alhamdulillah.
Was it last September? Was it only last September? It was only 6 months ago. Was it only last September? I thought it was the year before. Am I completely missing out my years? Whew, it feels longer. I think her content just makes it seem like generations ago.
One thing I noticed since becoming a revert is...
Foodie, take your makeup off. Don't just sit there like that.
The community can be very judgmental.
I thought she meant us, which, fair. You can say that you're not mean, you can say you're mean, you can say you don't care. But yeah, we sit there and we comment. I'm not going to pretend we don't. But no, I wasn't where she was going with that.
I used to be Catholic, okay? And as a Catholic Christian, I literally never, ever had anyone, even like I was a public figure, right? I never had anyone, Christian or Catholic, preach to me about the rules of Catholicism and how I'm being a bad Christian or something like that.
Okay, and that's perhaps true, and as much as she lies about everything for no reason whatsoever, I could believe that's true. But as she was sitting there in various degrees of nudity, taking various amounts and types of substances, either completely high, completely drunk, or some combination of both, was she claiming to live by the teachings of the religion she grew up with? Because I've never known her to claim to be living by those. Now, when she became a revert, when she joined doesn't sound quite right, when she found Islam, she presented herself, her entire journey, as someone who was newly reverted, everyday Mariam, someone who was moving to Kuwait, someone who was immersing themselves in that experience and their journey closer to God. And I would say those are two very different scenarios than the generalized, oh, I was raised in this fashion, to I am making a choice to turn away from my earlier teachings, even though I've never really followed them, and fully embrace my place within Islam. I consider those two things very different. So as we move on, remember that. Like, I don't have any religious leanings now, but I was raised, I suppose, Catholic? Well, maybe not raised. I went to a Catholic school and I was raised in a predominantly Christian country. So when you look at it like that, yes, I have those traditions in my upbringing, but I consider them traditions rather than beliefs in my adulthood. So this face, this very smug face where she really is about to say some things to the community, I think is premature. Yes.
But now as a revert, I find that the community, the Muslim community online especially, can be very judgmental. I get all the time people coming for me like Islam police, like that's a siren. Anyway, things like the Haram police, you know, saying things like, I don't know, just commenting on like makeup.
That was a very specific cut. She could not think of an example initially, I don't think. And again, a lot of people who are not of Islam come in, myself included, and go, hey there, that doesn't seem to suit the lifestyle that you are professing to embrace. That seems at odds with your newly found beliefs. Which is a reasonable thing to say, even as someone not of the religion, when the gap between what she's doing and what she's saying is so wide. Now, the nuance of it isn't known to everybody, but she's talking about specifically Muslim people, people who do know the religion, who may have been raised in it. And just as a minor point, as somebody who's lived in Muslim communities in a couple of countries now, I have never been made to feel unwelcome within it, even as someone who is not Muslim. And particularly in Oman. Oman are known for being incredibly welcoming people. Like, I have never felt unwelcome here. I have been invited to iftars. I have been invited to join in celebrations. And I'm not Muslim. I don't have that religious component. But If there's ever a welcoming community, I would say people who are encouraging someone newly reverted to their faith are incredibly welcoming and incredibly generous. So the fact that Chantal is not finding that to be the case, I find incredibly unusual and probably something to do with her personality.
I see it happen to other people too, like, you know, your hijab is not fully covering or this and that. You shouldn't.
What other people? I want to know. Because when I have been, let's say in my old school, we used to have whole school meetings and it was the one place that we were expected to wear our abayas. And one time we were having a meeting where it was just our side of the school, and one of the teachers who was Muslim had her headscarf off because we didn't tend to wear them when we were teaching. It was a requirement of the school that we had Western dress. And then the men came in from the other side because there was a girls' side to the school and a men's side to the school. And my head of operations, who was a Western woman who had reverted into Islam herself, just leant over and she was like, oh, this teacher needs to know to put a headscarf on. And it was meant as a point of concern because she knew the teacher would be uncomfortable with her hair exposed when there were men in the room. She just hadn't noticed them come in yet. So if Foodie is taking that as a jab when it's intended as something actually of concern, to say, oh, hey, your hair is showing, be really careful, because they would be uncomfortable in that situation. I was in a mall the other week and one of my buttons had come undone just here and I hadn't noticed, and it meant that my cleavage was a little bit low. Like, you couldn't see it, but it was obviously not intended to be open. Now, luckily I had a bag strap over my front and it was holding things together, and a lady was like, oh my dear, your button's come undone. And thank goodness she did, because that could have been incredibly embarrassing. So while Foodie does get a lot of criticism, and while that makes her very defensive, and she's never really been able to tell the difference between trolling, which is prevalent obviously, and actual well-intended advice, she always just takes it super personally. I would say she's likely applying the kind of expectations she has within her girl world community to the Muslim community. And I don't think that's necessarily the way she should go forward here. And because she doesn't have any other social relationship, she really doesn't know how else to handle it. So anything well meant, and that's such a huge component of welcoming a new person in. It's guiding them, it's helping them, it's offering advice, that she is not going to be willing to take that at all. And now you get this.
You saying this, you shouldn't be smoking shisha, you know.
Something she said she was giving up.
You should be doing this, you should be doing that. So I just want to say, go easy on people. Like let people observe their religion, worship how they want to, and like at their own pace. Like, a person who's reverted like a year and a half ago, even like a few years ago, is not the same as somebody who's born into it.
That's true. And that is why there are expectations on what you would do before reverting into the religion. You would expect a certain amount of research. You would expect a slower change in behavior to allow you to transition into this and then to take the Shahada. You would expect Foodie to be going to lessons, to groups, to engaging with the community to help guide her through these changes. She didn't and is not doing any of these. So don't sit here and be like, could you give me some time, please? When you're not using that time to do anything that would help. And a year and a half is not a short amount of time. It's shorter than the lifetime of people raised in it. But let's not pretend it's a week.
It's not up to somebody to judge someone, because that's between them and Allah. It's not between me and other sisters and brothers. It's between me and Allah, okay?
Yeah, but you can have teachers, and I'm sorry, if you don't want judgment, any organized religion is probably not for you. It's sort of central to a lot of things. Having there be a right way and a wrong way, and having people try to help you adjust when they see you doing something that isn't the right way, that's kind of organized religion in a nutshell. Like, this might not be the place for you, friend. And I don't just mean Islam by that, I mean any organized religion.
Because you know what? Yeah, I still have trouble with a lot of things.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted because her filter is doing its very best to erase the makeup as she's wiping it off, even though we can still see it's quite heavily there. Like, it's working.
Music being one of them. You know, it's frowned upon to listen to music in Islam. Well, I'm struggling with that part of it.
Yeah, it's not so much. Okay, so the music question, there are varying degrees of how much you disapprove. But for example, I know at school, music lessons, which are part of the curriculum, were stopped during Ramadan. They weren't allowed to play music during Ramadan because Ramadan is stricter than the rest of the year. So their lessons got changed to, I think, musical theory and drama. So it wasn't actual production of music. And again, Foodie went out of her way to try and cultivate more Muslim people in her audience, that sub for sub program she did, to try and get her over 100,000. And now that has consequence of some kind, she does not want to hear it because their usefulness has expired. She's got her plaque, she's done the thing, she doesn't care anymore. Because as with most things we see from Foodie, when it comes to her faith, it's performative. She's worried about the presentation and about being able to say, well, that's none of your business, it's me and Allah.
I'm struggling with a lot of things, makeup, stuff like that, you know, smoking shisha once in a while.
Once in a while. So we're like a week into Ramadan. You said you were going to give it up. Do you remember the stream she did a few days past where she kept muting? Probably shisha.
Things that are frowned upon. But that's between me and Allah. And the one thing you have to remember is what makes a Muslim, a kafir, is a non-believer, is somebody who doesn't pray at all, you know, or...
It takes a certain amount of balls, like a special level of arrogance to get on your channel and say, hey, you Muslim people who I'm not the same as, because I was not raised, so I will not know as much. Let me lecture you on the intricacies of what these words that I didn't even know a year ago mean. Let me tell you what your religion that you were raised with means. Foodie, you are the student here. You are the person who is supposed to be learning and adapting and changing because you took your shahada. You made that commitment, and as with any commitment you've ever made in your life, it's going about as well as we would expect. If someone who has been in the faith longer tries to give you some advice, probably take it. And if you don't want to take it, maybe don't have a tantrum about it. And I know there are people out there that are going to object to the word tantrum because she's not actually going off. This is calmly said, but it's meant in the same way that any rant would be meant. I don't want to hear it. It's between me and God. Even if you've been doing this longer than I have, even if you've come from a culture where it's prevalent through the society and you have grown up with this as a norm, let me lecture you on what I've learned sitting in my apartment for the last year. Having probably not read very much of the Quran, having not gone to mosque, having not made community links. It kills me that Foodie had the perfect avenue to be able to go to Kuwait and establish herself within a social group, because she would have been welcomed and she would have been helped and she would have been supported. And she sits at home alone, not because she has to, but because she's too embarrassed to take the initiative and because she doesn't care that much about the religion. Oh, I'm sorry. As I say, don't care. I'm not in her head. She shows no evidence of caring very much for the underlying principles of that religion, only what the show of it can get for her. It is hard to establish yourself in a new place with new friends, particularly with someone like Foodie who doesn't work, or she works from home. Let's call YouTube her work. She works from home. It's not like there's another circle she can establish herself into. She could have had that avenue with Salah's family, but man, she poisoned that well quick. So the community that could have helped her settle in Kuwait, the community she could have built much more easily than anyone else coming in as a foreigner in a new land, she just didn't. But now, having asked you to come over and sub to her and presented yourself as a revert on this journey, let me lecture you a little bit. My God, the arrogance.
Makes no effort. Even that is between that person and Allah. So a person who smokes shisha is still a Muslim in Allah's eyes. A person who wears makeup is still a Muslim. A person who drinks even is still a Muslim. I don't drink, but people who smoke weed is still a Muslim. You know, maybe lost or off the path, but they're still Muslim. And you can't judge somebody's journey, you know, just by watching one of their videos. You don't know what they're struggling with. There's a lot of reverts who haven't even begun to wear the hijab yet.
And again, if you put it online, it can absolutely be judged. You can say you don't care. You can say, no, it's my business, I'm not going to engage with it, even though that wouldn't really be in keeping with, if this is coming from other Muslims, wouldn't really be in keeping with what you're trying to establish here. Anyone can judge you for anything. You put it public, you get the public. And yes, people usually take a longer time to transition into something like the hijab because it's meant to mean something. It's not meant to be an accessory. It's meant to represent a commitment. You put the hijab on, but we have yet to see evidence of the commitment. So yes, some people don't wear it because they don't feel ready to wear it yet, because they're actually establishing their faith and going by the teachings and the learnings, and that takes time. And not just in the way of, hey, who are you to tell me anything just because I haven't done anything for a year and a half?
They need to do it when they're comfortable. The most important thing as a new Muslim or as a Muslim is to pray and repent.
The most important thing in any faith is to mean it, no matter how you express it.
I'm just tired of being judged, you know.
Again, organized religion, maybe not for you, just saying.
I'm not perfect, but I do believe in God, and, you know, I love God.
Yeah, just not enough to be uncomfortable, apparently.
I sometimes struggle with certain aspects of the religion. That I'm learning on my own, you know, I'm doing a lot of,
But why? Why are you learning on your own when the intent is for you to be part of your religious community? Surely learning on your own is detrimental, especially with the way we know she processes information.
I do research on it, read what it says in the Quran.
The research she does is scrolling through quotes, inspirational quotes on TikTok or Instagram. I tell you that now.
But there's a lot of different things that I still struggle with, and I'm still learning on my own. And that's my journey. It's my right to do that. So, you know, before rushing here, the Islam police, I don't need your sirens, okay? I got this on my own, and
you don't seem to have got this. Just as an outside observation, you don't seem to be engaging with any other aspect of your religion than putting on the hijab.
This is addressing fellow sisters or other reverts.
Specifically people in the faith.
You know, who just make, it's almost a deterrent to the religion from people being so judgmental in that community.
I am not talking about kind educational comments. Then what are you talking about? If you're doing something that does not agree with the teachings, and someone comes in and says, hey, that doesn't agree with the teachings, this would be a better way to do this. How are you differentiating those? You just don't like being told what to do, so religion is an odd choice.
You know, it's overwhelming. And so, I mean, I'm not even addressing my critics on YouTube are not even religious, most of them, or Muslim.
Yep. I'm not religious or Muslim. It doesn't take me being a Muslim to see how ridiculous she is being a lot of the time. But again, specifically, all you people who grew up in this faith, the faith I am claiming I am new to and don't know much about, and I'm only learning about on my own, how dare you come in here with comments on my faith? How dare you try to guide me into this religion?
And they come for me with the Islam police. I don't even care what they say. They look like clowns. They look like clowns judging a Muslim person when they know nothing about it. So, and they're not even Muslim whatsoever.
Again, I'm just sitting here in a Muslim country going by my observations. Are they always right? No. Do I live a religious life? No. Do I need to see that a lot of what she's doing seems strange? No, because it's that strange.
So, but the fellow sisters, like, who get judged, especially reverts, we get judged hard, right? Because, or like laughed at. I feel like we get ridiculed more from the Muslim community, especially online.
Okay, well, those are personal feelings though. And personal feelings and truth are sometimes different things. Do you probably get looked at more because you are making a big change from something instead of growing into it from birth? Yes, because you probably need more guidance. Unlearning something is always harder than just learning something fresh. Always. And you will need more help. But seriously, where do you get off calling people to your channel to try and present this new brand only to come back here and say, fellow sisters, who the hell are you?
And I've gotten some of that criticism, and I've seen a lot of it too.
So,
and
from the
I
looks of
myself
it.
have been judgmental sometimes, like when I see somebody wearing tight clothing and I'm thinking, that's not how it's supposed to be. But then I catch myself and I think, I don't like being judged. That's not my journey.
You don't like being judged, it's not your journey, but you are right, they don't wear tight clothes. So if you observe that and you recognize it as, oh, even if your secondary thought is, well, I'll stay out of it, it's none of my business, because you don't know the person you're seeing, she has a channel. It opens up a window into her life and invites comments by the fact that it's public. And that's true whether they're Muslim or not.
I'm not the one to judge. I'm not God. I'm not Allah. That's between him and all the other Muslims.
But you're the one presenting yourself as a new Muslim revert, and sisters and brothers, won't you come and talk to me?
You know, that's up to them. So people also have different ways of interpreting a religion, you know. So me, I just mostly am continuing to read the Quran and learning a lot that way about the religion.
There are people, there are Islamic scholars, there are a number of Islamic scholars. There are literal bodies and councils of people because there are many interpretations and sometimes you need people to settle things. And that is why the guidance of people more knowledgeable than you is so important. I would bet hard money on the fact that Foodie hasn't read the Quran through yet in a year and a half. The basis of her religion, I'm betting she hasn't read through yet, like cover to cover. Given how many people, and I'm sorry to say this, but people are a lot smarter than Chantal, a lot more capable of critical analysis than Chantal, dedicate their life to the interpretation of this text, and Foodie thinks she's just going to be able to do it on and off when she feels like it for the camera, and then have a go at people who have also gone to school and studied this book as part of their curriculum. It's a compulsory part of the curriculum here. You have to study it. But no, Mariam knows best.
And I realized maybe I should have done that a lot before actually taking the Shahada.
Ooh,
but
maybe.
For me, it was like
something to try and desperately get yourself a status in Kuwait so you could marry Salah, even though you've admitted to tourist visa hopping before and after. Yeah, something like that.
They ask you basically, like before reverting, do you believe in that there's one God? Yes, I can take that off. I do.
I can tick that off. It's not a driving license application, which you also were incapable of doing.
Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his messenger and slave. And I do, because personally for me, and this is just my belief, everyone has their own, and you can believe what you want. I believe in the Islam, the Muslim. I believe in I believe.
She is stumbling. Don't get me wrong, it happens, but this is an edited video, friend. You don't know what you believe. You wouldn't be stumbling so much if you did.
The Muslim belief that.
Is it just that she's not sure whether to use Muslim or Islamic? Is she just scared she's going to get backlash for it?
Jesus was a prophet, and he did perform miracles given to him by God. But I don't believe that God has a son or had a son, and I don't believe that Jesus was God. So that, to me, those two things.
Jesus isn't God in Christianity either, is he? Is he? It's been a while since I've been at school. That's not how that works, right?
That I could take the Shahada. But beyond that, there's a lot to learn about it, you know?
Yeah, there is.
And,
maybe you should learn with people.
and
Maybe you should
that's
take
what I'm
guidance.
doing after the fact. So, I'm just saying, you know, Muslim community, just think about that with reverts, how it can be overwhelming, and
Anything is overwhelming if you're not accepting any help and you're not making any effort to change. Any change is overwhelming when you're actively working against it.
you know, we have a right to our own journey, our own beliefs. We don't owe anything to anybody. We have the right to...
Do you not owe to God the following of his religion as you see it? Is that not... Dude, you went and ticked that box to get a ticket to ride. What, you complaining now it's going too fast?
believe what we want, worship it how we want, show it how we want. And if you're doing something that you think is better than another Muslim, good for you. You know, I would say just keep that to yourself, and that's between you and Allah. And, you know.
What a bitch. Sorry. I don't usually let the inside voice out, but man, listen to yourself. My God.
It's not like I'm doing anything super immoral or bad. And
it's just religion, you guys. Don't take it so seriously. Be like me. Just wear the costume. It's not like it's important to people's lives.
Yeah. It's Islam is about a relationship between you and Allah. That's it. Not about, you know, judging other Muslims, you know. So yeah, that's just my thought on the whole community, how it can be a bit judgmental sometimes.
Way to generalize a community you've only been a part of to beg for favors and now have you no use for.
Compared to what I'm used to, and
that, sorry, compared to what I'm used to, she's used to YouTube. YouTube is incredibly judgmental. It's not like this is gonna be worse. Just they'll have more reason to do it, which she doesn't like at all.
Some rules that I have a hard time with, I have to say. I know they're in place for our own good.
Yes.
So, you know, alhamdulillah. So, you know, inshallah, someday I will get it.
Yeah, inshallah, someday, without trying, without accepting help, and without reflecting on my behavior, despite everyone's best efforts, maybe it'll just click.
But there's some things that I still struggle with, and I think you know, allow that patience, you know, just like Allah's patient with us as we're learning. So anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to say. Just talk about religion, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So I'll see.
I think enjoy would be the wrong word, but the Muslim community, and by Muslim community I mainly mean that sub for sub channel that she completely threw under the bus, they were already not particularly keen on her. Like, I don't imagine this is going to help. And I don't imagine picking fights with people who are going to be more knowledgeable than you. Like, Foodie's level of knowledge in any subject is pretty low. Yeah, she is a low bar in every sense. I don't imagine it's going to take much to be able to pick this apart, especially for anybody who's actually part of the community. I mean, come on now. But way to ingratiate yourself, way to form links in the community, way to forge those relationships with your brothers and sisters. God, her family within her religion is about as successful as her family outside of religion, quite frankly. I am going to leave it there. Wow. Just, it would be impressive if it weren't so awful. Wow. And I'll leave you there. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.